Mr. Habeeb.
Mr. Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, members of the body, on Tuesday of this week, Virginia lost a true statesman. Madison Ellis Marye was born in Richmond in 1925. Madison served his country in the U.S. Army, Mr. Speaker, in World War II, the Korean War, and in Vietnam. He retired from the Army as a major. He left the Army and moved back to Shawsville, Virginia, which is, those of you who know the Roanoke and New River Valleys, it sits in between Roanoke and Blacksburg. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Marye, ultimately Senator Marye, settled down as a beef cattle farmer and opened a gas station. But, Mr. Speaker, politics was always in his blood. He was the great-grandson of President John Tyler. He wisely ran for the House of Delegates in 1973. He actually lost that first election, but this House's loss was the Senate's gain as he turned around immediately thereafter and was elected to the state Senate in a special election, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, he served for 29 years in the state Senate, and he was referred to by lots of names. He was called a folksy populist. He was called a fierce fighter. He always said he, quote, fought for the little man. He had a habit, those of you who may have known him, of telling every story in the guise of Uncle Billy, his fictional uncle back home. And much like the gentleman from Appomattox, his grandmother, Uncle Billy, oftentimes had the ability to change the outcome of legislation. Mr. Speaker, in 2001, Madison Marye's seat was redrawn and moved into Northern Virginia. So for a year, the gentleman from Shawsville, the country farmer from out west, actually represented some of you big city folks in Nova. With a year left on his term, he decided he was no longer the best person to represent those folks, and he gracefully retired after 29 years of service. Mr. Speaker, Madison Marye is known for a lot of things. One of the things most remarkable to me and appropriate here on Black History Month is that as a country farmer from Southwest Virginia, he was the first state senator to endorse Doug Wilder in his run for lieutenant governor. In fact, he gave a fairly famous and powerful speech on the floor of the Senate endorsing both Mary Sue Terry for Attorney General and Doug Wilder for Lieutenant Governor, and pointing out that he hoped our state had come to the point where an African American and a female were qualified and acceptable as statewide candidates. And, Mr. Speaker, while Senator Marye and I were of different parties, he was always incredibly gracious. As a high school student, I had the honor of meeting with him as part of the Model Judiciary Program, and he made every one of us feel like our ideas mattered and could actually help the Commonwealth. In my later years, once I was elected to serve the General Assembly and my district was redrawn to pick up Madison's precinct, he would stand with me at the polling location, two men of different generations of different parties. He would introduce me to every one of his friends. He would tell them he and I disagreed on a few issues here and there, but that I was a good man. And, Mr. Speaker, one of the great honors of my life is to have Senator Madison Marye tell his friends that I was a good man. So we truly lost a statesman at the age of 90 this Tuesday. He'll be missed in our region. He meant so much that I can't even tell, but his fingerprints will last on our region and our Commonwealth forever. So, Mr. Speaker, for all those and the other reasons I can't say today, I hope that this body will adjourn today in the honor and memory of Senator Madison Marye.
The gentleman from Salem, Mr. Habeeb, moves that when the House adjourn today, it adjourn in the honor and memory of Senator Madison Marye. As many as favor that motion will please rise.